Hello, this is Michelle with Sipology, and we're going to talk about our 24 Steeps exclusive tea collection, which is for the holidays. This is for 2020, and it comes with 24 teas, and each one has a number right here. And I'm going to show you, this is day one, which we're going to start with today. And inside the box, it tells you that it's this one's caramel apple crisp, and you steep 1 teaspoon per every 8 ounces for 2 minutes, and you can rebrew it 3 times. So here is, let me put this back down. We're gonna kind of shuffle around in the small spot. I want to show you just how much tea comes in these. So I brought an extra glass here. And I'm going to pour this in here just to try and keep things clean. And you can see already how it was packed very tightly in there, because look at the difference in how much tea is in our glass versus that little tin. So again, this is day one. This is caramel apple crisp. It is a green tea, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. I want to get to brewing, and then we can talk some more. So I'm going to make a pot of tea with you today for our day one, because I'm super excited about this tea, and I'm going to drink a lot of it. So I'm just going to put this down so we don't make a mess. And let's get started. Okay, so I brought with me a teapot. This one is not a Sipology teapot, but just here, this is actually a blooming teapot, so you can see tea bloom in it. But I wanted to show you the Sipology Universal Infuser really quick, because it is amazing. So it looks like this. It's got a lid / coaster for when you're done with it. And not only does it fit in a teapot, but it will fit in your mugs and glasses. And I'll show you that again in a minute. So I wanted to just share with you, that's the Universal Tea Infuser. You can infuse right in your pot. And we'll come back to that in a minute. I'm going to put this one in here just while we brew this particular glass of tea, or this pot of tea. So again, you saw me pour the tin in here. This is our 1 pot of tea scoop. Hopefully you can see that. So you fill it up. You do not have to, it's just level full, not heaping, but level. So there's your 1 pot, and that's 4 cups, 4 8 ounces. And I'm actually, the water I brought with me is 5 cups. So I'm gonna take my 1 cup of teaspoon and grab some more out of there. So you literally have a whole pot of tea plus a cup of tea in there. And there's even some left. So I want to show you what it looks like now. You can see the bits of apple in there. And we're just going to put the rest in there since it's almost gone. So that was a pot and a tea for a total of 5 cups of water. So this can be hot water or cold water. I'm just going to pour this right in here. I cold brew almost all the time. I may hot brew with you over the next 24 days, but I cold brew. If you're hot brewing, you may want to put your lid back on to keep it nice and warm. But we have a handy dandy timer with Sipology too, and it shows you how long to brew each tea. So it is 2 minutes for green tea, 3 minutes for black and pu'er. I'm sorry, 2.5 minutes for black and pu'er, 3 minutes for oolong, 4.5 minutes for herbal, fruit, veg, and white tea. Sorry if you can't see that. 5 for rooibos, and 5.5 for mate. So because I'm cold steeping, I need to go to the 2, which is green tea, and I can either steep twice as long or twice as much product. So since I only have the 5 cups of product, I'm going to go to 4 minutes. And so we're going to let this brew. And you can hopefully see, this is probably not the best teapot to show you on video, but hopefully you'll see the water start changing colors with the green tea. So now, just to tell you a little bit more about the Universal Tea Infuser, as I showed you, it would go into a teapot. This is, I used to call them pounders when I was a waitress, but a glass. Boom, it'll fit in there. And here's a mug. Now, granted, you're going to have maybe some really wide-lipped mugs. Maybe it won't work, but here's just an example. And I'm off camera, but it'll fit right inside your mug. So, and this is such a fantastic infuser because you can infuse almost all of our teas with it. And when you go to pull it out of your tea, you're going to have to let it sit for a few seconds so you can get all of the water out of there, because see how small those holes are? So you'll have to let all the water get out of there so you get all your flavors, but you can use your lid as a coaster so you don't get water everywhere. So I just wanted to share with you, because it's a lot like the infuser I have in my teapot, but this is our universal tea infuser, and it is my favorite infuser. So now let me talk about the green tea. So the green tea is pretty much the most common tea along with black tea. It's the most studied of the teas, out of black and rooibos and all the things I showed you that were on the timer. It is the most studied tea. It's medium caffeine, and as you saw, it has the natural green leaf, which is not oxidized. So that means it's a very fresh taste, which can either be sweet, smoky, or grassy. The benefits to green tea is that it hydrates the skin, detoxifies the body, it can help with bad breath, it can improve metabolism, it can improve brain function, and it can help boost immunity. So it is an amazing tea. And as you can see now, the water is getting nice and colored. So if you've tried it before, you may have noticed a bitter taste. That means that it's over-steeped. So you want to make sure that you don't over-steep it. And this is the most important if you have hot water steeping, because you can burn the leaves and it'll make it too bitter. So when you're hot steeping, again, as our timer shows, you're just steeping it for 2 minutes. It is a bigger, fuller leaf, and in our Sipology tea, it has the less stems and veins. So you're getting the leafy part of the product, which is delicious. So, and we do have other green teas that we're going to do over the next 24 days. And I think we're almost out of time. I was going to see if I needed to pause this all and let it finish, but we're just under a minute. So obviously, if you have any questions down below, let me know. This is such a great way to try so many different teas. In the, I call it an advent calendar, but in our 24 steeps, you get green tea, black tea, pu'er, there is fruit teas, there's rooibos teas, I believe there's an oolong in there. So you get to taste all the different types of teas, because if you're like me, before I started with Sipology, I had never heard of rooibos, or I've never heard of oolong. I've never heard of mate. I basically had green tea and black tea and maybe white tea. So there's a white tea as well, I believe, in the calendar. So it gives you an opportunity to try all of the different teas. So that's it. Our pot of tea, as you can see, is a beautiful color. The leaves are nice and hydrated now. And what's cool about, we have a thing called a cutie pot, and you can do the same thing with the cutie pot. You can let it sit on the lip, the universal infusers. You can let it sit on the lip of the cutie pot, and the cutie pot will come with its own infuser, but that way you can let that flavor drip down, because as I showed you with the universal infuser, those holes are quite smaller, and you want to make sure you get all of your flavor into your pot of tea. If you notice that your tea isn't strong enough, you can use more product, obviously. The perfect cup of teaspoon is actually a teaspoon and a half, where this calls for a teaspoon per every 8 ounces, so mine should be nice and strong. And I can add, obviously, if it's too strong, then you can add more water or ice cubes if you drink iced tea. But it's really simple to, either, and the most amazing part of green tea is that you can rebrew it up to 3 times. So you can put your universal infuser onto your lid or your coaster, and you can let these leaves dry, and then use it again the next day. Or if you want to, get another pot or another cup and stick them right in there and let them and infuse again. So you can brew up to 3 times. So you're getting a great value. So as you saw, we got 5 whole cups, or a pot plus a cup, out of this 1 tin of tea. So if I rebrew it 3 times, I'm going to get 15 cups of tea just on day 1. I hope you had a good time watching me brew a pot of tea with you. I do get nervous on these videos, so I'm sorry I ramble. But thank you so much for watching, and let us know below if you have any questions.